Rob Porter's former wife, Jenny Willoughby, is with us now. Jenny, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's not easy to relive a painful past, and it's certainly not easy to do it publicly. What have these last few days been like for you?
It's certainly been overwhelming. I did not seek this out and did not ask for it. And as the moment was brought to me to share these intimate and shameful details that I haven't even shared with family and friends has been really cathartic. When you say shameful, what do you mean by that? I think anybody who has been in a toxic or abusive relationship recognizes that on some degree you feel it, so it's your fault, and you carry that shame with you. I've realized as I've started to speak out more about it that even now, years later, that I've done the healing and the forgiveness that I felt that I needed, I still had shame in telling that story. You were married about 3 years, correct?
4 years.
4 years.
When did you know this has crossed a line?
You know, abuse is a really tricky thing. It starts slow, and it starts a cycle sort of where you don't really see it for what it is. I don't think I realized that I could even call my marriage abusive until about a year in.
What was the moment? Was it this what we've read now in the papers when you say he pulled you out of the shower? What happened?
We had been fighting, and Rob followed me to the shower and pulled me out of the shower to continue the rage, and immediately saw how scared I was and recognized what he was doing and released it. But that was the moment when I realized he didn't have control.
When you say abusive, do you mean physically abusive? Do you mean verbally abusive? What was he like as a husband?
For my marriage, I would say it was very strongly verbally and emotionally abusive. A lot of attacks on my character and my intelligence, and things that I felt to be true about myself were systematically and repeatedly attacked, so that it was, you know, an emotional breakdown.
You got a restraining order against him, so you feared some physical
It was a
violence?
temporary protective order after an incident where he had punched in the door of our home during our separation, and the police officers sort of pointed out that if he is able to do that, even though I didn't expect it, I really didn't know what else he was capable of. And so, yeah, a temporary protective order.
All these years later, you met Colbie Holderness, who is Rob Porter's first wife. She has also come forward publicly, and she has actually also put out an image that shows her with a black eye. She says Rob Porter gave her that black eye. Do you believe her?
Of course I believe her. Of course I believe her.
You think he's capable of that?
I believe her.
What did it mean to you when you sat with her and the two of you looked across the table from each other and shared this experience?
It's so isolating to be, I mentioned the shame, but it's also the isolation that you don't really feel like you can talk to anybody about it or like anybody would understand. And so to meet Colbie and to hear her story and to recognize that we both had that experience was a release. It was a recognition, you know, we really were in this together.
The reason this is a story at all, that we are sitting here talking about this so publicly, is because Rob Porter was a top White House aide. He worked in and around the Oval Office, and he was actually subject to an FBI background check. His clearance never came through for reasons we don't know. The FBI did contact you. Did you tell the FBI what you've shared this morning, what you've shared publicly?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been very clear as I've been meeting with the media that of course I was part of the background check, and I was completely honest with what my experience of the marriage, including telling them instances of abuse or police contact.
And I know you kept in touch with Rob and as I understood it, tried to maintain somewhat of a cordial relationship. Did he ever talk to you about this FBI interview? Did he ask you to say anything? Did he tell you it was coming? I mean, what was your interaction?
He definitely let me know that I was going to be contacted by the FBI once he was tapped for the White House, and he was curious what I was going to say. He really wanted to know, you know, what are you going to tell them? And I told him I'm going to tell them the truth.
And what did he say? Did he accept that?
Yeah. I mean, he knew that, I think he knew my character, and he knew that that was what I was going to share.
Since that, he has said that the claims of his first wife were outrageous and vile, and he accused you of being part of a coordinated smear campaign. Are you?
Yeah, I was asked that before, and I'm not even really sure how to answer that question, because there was no coordination of this. This is unexpected. That I would have to be speaking about this and mentioning his name and describing the details of my marriage is nothing that I wanted. And I have only recently been in contact with Colbie to discuss it at all.
What would you say to him right now?
I'm really hopeful that he can face the reality of these issues that he's dealing with, and I really hope that now, in the wake of losing his reputation and his career, the things that he valued most, that he'll be able to really go inside and find the things that actually do matter most about him.
Did you want him to lose that job?
No, and I've been very clear on that. I think he is good at his job, and I liked that he was in that administration, but this is a consequence of his actions.
Jenny Willoughby, thank you for being here, sharing your story. I know it's not easy. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.